Hold on a second. Where's my voice box gone? Hold on. Ow, 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 ow. Sorry about that. Speaker went funny. Oh, bugger. Never mind. I'll start again. Fuck it. Hello, I'm Bill. It's my day off today. So what's been happening in the news since I've been away? I ain't been anywhere, have I? What's been happening in the news? Oh yeah, some guy got macheted by a Muslim fanatic, didn't he? That's right, that's what's been happening in the news, isn't it? Hey? You've been reading the news? Did you hear about that? A soldier, some guy attacks him with a machete and cuts him to pieces in the street. Says, Hallelujah Allah. Is this Britain? Are we living in Great Britain? Are we living in Great Britain? When you have Muslim fanatics in the street, where are the police? Can I ask you a question? There was a time when you used to have policemen on every street corner, didn't you? There was a time when bobbies used to march the beat and keep the streets safe. Now, we know the streets are not safe for children because they get shot in the back of the head. Did you hear about that kid who got shot dead in the back of the head? Did you hear that one? About a few years back. Did you ever hear the one about Dunblane? When a whole school of infant children, 5 years old, a nursery school basically. Don't mind if I smoke, do you? Good. Have you ever heard of Dunblane? Do you remember Dunblane? When some maniac with a gun in Britain burst into this classroom and he shot all these little children, 5 years old, man. I was probably the teacher hiding under the bench, hiding under the desk. This maniac just burst. This is in Scotland. This happened in Scotland in Dunblane about 15, 20 years ago probably by now. No, about 15 years ago, I guess. Do you remember Dunblane? A maniac with a gun breaks into a school and he shoots 5-year-old kids in a nursery school, basically. I think they were in the year 1 or something, weren't they? How many people actually remember Dunblane? Because that Scottish village got torn apart. So did I. Do you remember Dunblane? Do you? I think you should remember Dunblane. A maniac with a gun breaks into a school and shoots all the 5-year-old children. About 13 or 15 kids got killed, something like that. And the government did nothing about it, did they? The government did nothing about Dunblane. "15 or 20 kids get murdered, 5-year-old children, at school. They get murdered at school. How do you think the teacher felt? For Christ's sake. The government did nothing about it. People still have guns on the streets of Britain. Was it Rhys Davis or something? Might have been Rhys Davis, I can't remember the name. Some kid got shot dead in the back of the head. He got shot dead in the back of the head on the streets of Britain. Where were the police? Where were the police? Probably busting some poor bloody marijuana dealer. You know what I mean? They certainly haven't been on the streets of Britain for a long time. Anyway, like last week, this soldier who served in Afghanistan. Now, I do not agree with the Iraq war, and I do not agree with the Afghanistan war. I don't see the point of fighting a war in Afghanistan. What has Afghanistan got to do with Britain, right? What has Afghanistan got to do with Britain? Nothing except oil, probably. You know what I mean? The Middle East, that's where all the oil is, isn't it? All the oil, all the petrol is in the Middle East. You know, you could use shit and have methane gas to power your cars, but there we are. But no, we're fighting a war in Afghanistan for someone else's war. It's not our war. Why are we fighting Afghanistan? Afghanistan did not attack us. Terrorists attacked America. And terrorists attacked the streets of Britain, and they're still doing it. You do not invade somebody else's fucking country like Afghanistan and then blow the shit out of the bastards for no reason. Were the Taliban a threat before the Iraqi war or the Afghanistani war? I don't know much about them. I don't care to. Cut off my hand if they're near me. No, religious fanatics, basically. Anyway, they claimed responsibility, didn't they, for New York, actually. I think the Taliban claimed responsibility for New York. All right. So you fought that war in Iraq afterwards. You started a war with Iraq. Because 2 tower blocks in America got blown up, didn't they, in 2001. The 2 towers, you remember the 2 towers in 2001? And 25,000, was it, or 2,500? Something like, no, it was 2,500 people died when the 2 tower blocks got blown up. And that does look very suspicious, by the way they went down like that. Because, I mean, there's a whole conspiracy theory about it there. It was done by the United States government. I don't know all the facts. You'll have to talk to some of my friends who know more about it than me, about the 2 towers. Because, you know, like, there is a sort of like conspiracy theory, isn't there, about that. Anyway, yeah, but that's another story. But what I'm saying is, like, okay, 2,500, fair enough, the Iraqi war justified. But, I mean, now in this, why invade Afghanistan now? What's the point? Who are you fighting? What are you fighting for? If you win the war, you get a bit of desert. But meanwhile, all our soldiers are getting their arms and their legs chopped off every day. You know, Afghanistan, I mean, they're training for the next Paralympics, are they? In Afghanistan, are they training for the next Paralympic Games? You know, you go to Afghanistan, you get your legs blown off, you get your arms blown off. With bombs and shit, you know? Waste of limbs, waste of arms. Not much of an army if you have no arms, is it? So it's not much of an army if you've got no arms. And how can you march without legs? Well, we could in Gay Pride. We could have quite a lot in the marches. Yeah, but anyway, this soldier, right, in Britain, drifting the point. What I'm saying is, why the fuck are we fighting a war in Afghanistan when nobody is protecting the streets of Britain? The point of having an army is not to invade other countries. The point of having an army is to defend your own land. The reason you have an army is not to attack. The reason is to defend your own land. We've got Arab fanatics in the street who hack up a soldier into little pieces, kind of thing. Right? We have Arab fanatics on the streets of Britain who hack up soldiers, you know, a drummer or something. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 with their axes going boom, 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 boom. You know? You get a soldier being hacked to death, you know, with a fucking axe in the streets of Britain. You get little children getting shot dead in the back of the head on the streets of Britain. You get a whole classroom of 5-year-olds in Dunblane getting shot to pieces with a gun in Britain. And you're fighting a war in Afghanistan? So that you are fighting a war in Afghanistan, which is of no use to us whatsoever. Shouldn't the army be fighting the war on the streets of Britain? A bit like Northern Ireland. Do you remember Northern Ireland? That was last time, wasn't it? It's like Northern Ireland, isn't it? Well, we do need the army on the streets of Britain because the police won't do their job. The police cannot are not defending the people, are they? So the police are not on the streets of Britain anymore. I don't know where they've gone. I don't know what the fuck the police are doing. They busted me once, actually, accused me of being a kiddie. Well, they didn't accuse me, actually. I actually got busted by the police. This is part of political broadcast, hello. I actually got busted by the police in 2007 because somebody had reported to the police accusing them of me being a kiddie fiddler. So they went to the police station and said, there's this man in Queensway House who's making child pornography, is what she told the police. So obviously the police have to investigate these claims, don't they? Anyway, Fisher Eames, detective, should be inspector by now. It was 6 years ago, sorry, Fisher Eames of the Hertfordshire Constabulary. You know me very well. Fisher Eames actually busted me in 2007. He did not accuse me. It was this bitch who made, there was this bitch who made this accusation, accusing me of being a kiddie fiddler and saying that I'd been making pornographic movies with children. Anyway, I got arrested by the police in August 2007, you see. Fisher Eames, gentleman and a scholar. The Hertfordshire Constabulary police, they arrested me in 2007 and they confiscated all my VHS movies. 1,000, it was, how much was it? 1,500 fish. That's how many he watched. Right? Can you imagine watching all my movies at the same time? That must have driven you mad, man. The police actually confiscated my films in 2007. And they spent 4 months, 4 solid months, watching my films. You poor bastard. You ever heard of the Secret Policeman's Ball? Have I ever told you the story of the Secret Policeman's Ball? The police watched all my films, my VHS movies, for 4 months. 4 fucking months. Every day they had to watch my movies. God, you lucky bastards. Anyway, at the end of 4 months, they gave them back to me. And thank you, Simon Swistick. Simon Swistick came down with me for bail every month. My mate, Simon. You ever heard of Simon? My mate Simon. He came down with me to the bail every fucking month when I was arrested for being a kiddie fiddler. Making pornographic movies with children, apparently. Anyway, the police watched all my films, actually, for 4 months. And do you know what the fucking police did? They gave them back to me. Yes, they did. They gave me back all my films. The police, the law, the police watched all my films for 4 fucking months. 4 months the police watched my films. I'm glad they did. I'm certainly very glad that they watched them. And then the police gave me back my films because I'm an innocent man. Okay, I had teenagers up here playing board games and getting very drunk and very stoned every day of the week. Russell, do you remember Russell? Russell died last year, actually. Russell was a fucking good buddy of mine. Russell was a beautiful bloke. He is a beautiful bloke. He's on my VHS movies. You'd have to watch my VHS movies to see Russell. He was the paper boy. I was the postman. Right. I mean, we used to meet every day, and Russell always used to bum me for cigarettes. Then he came up here in 2003 with his mates, and they all used to drink my beer and smoke my marijuana. Well, they bought their own marijuana. In fact, they used to sell me marijuana a lot of the time. Do you remember 2003? You know, the teenagers used to come up here all the time, man, every day. You know, Russell, Ashley Basil, and Michael Basil. And they used to come up here and we used to play board games. They used to drink my beer and we used to get stoned. Half the time they were the ones sort of like getting me stoned, actually. It was great fun. Anyway, the police watched all my films. Like, you have to watch it on VHS because they're the only ones that I've got. Well, unless you watch some of my YouTube movies, etc. We've got quite a bit of late history at the moment, what it is now, sort of thing on this. But anyway, no, the teenagers used to come up there for about 3 or 4 years or whatever. Anyway, the police watched all my films for 4 months. Right, the police watched all my films, you know. Teenagers getting drunk, you know, 14-year-olds smoking pot, playing board games, singing and dancing and having a fucking jolly good time they had. I hope they had a good time. They did have a good time up here. The teenagers had a fucking good time up here. Michael, Basil, Ashley Basil, you know, Russell, Ash and Dan, who got arrested, you know, they've been arrested again, but, you know. And Stevie, and there's loads of the fucking neighbourhood used to come up here, and we used to have a fucking good time. We used to party, and we used to drink, and play board games, and make movies, and they used to dance, and they sang, and they entertained me every day. Anyway, the police sort of like watched all my films, and then they gave them back to me. So if you ever want to accuse me of being a kiddie fiddler again, if you ever want to accuse me of being a kiddie fiddler, please go down to the police station, Hatfield Police Station. Serious to God, if you ever want to accuse me of being a kiddie fiddler, please go down to the police station. Ask for Detective Fisher Eames. Should be Inspector by now. That was 6 years ago. Detective Inspector Fisher. Oh no, he's locked up in the padded cell, isn't he? Okay. And I ask for Fisher Eames. He'll tell you the truth. He knows me quite well. So, but I want to get the police. I think the police should be on the streets. I mean, basically, the police should not be busting people for smoking pot. They should not be I mean, the police, you know, they should not be busting people for selling pot. Marijuana is a herb. Marijuana is not actually a drug. And by the way, happy birthday, James. Jim, my brother, Jim. Happy birthday, Jim. Anyway, yeah, it's your birthday today, isn't it, Jim? Happy birthday. How old are you now? 52? You going to give up or what? Anyway, yeah. My brother's birthday. Hello, Jim. Happy birthday. I'm still here. Anyway, yeah. Because, no, actually, what I was talking about, forgotten. Oh, my God. What was I talking about? Getting busted by the police and accused of being a kiddie fiddler. That's right. Yeah, so anyway, it took them 4 months to watch it, and then they gave all my films back to me, you know. Because actually I'm quite a nice guy, if you get to know me. If you don't like me, I'll kill you. But anyway, that don't matter. But anyway, no, what I'm thinking is I'd rather get the police back on the streets of Britain. But I don't agree with this Afghanistan war, to be honest with you. People are getting, a soldier got hacked to pieces, didn't he? That's right, we were talking about news, weren't we? Soldier got hacked to pieces on the streets of Britain by a Muslim fanatic. And they kill gays as well if they can. I hate gays as well, and I'm very, very gay. I am gayer than you are, mate. I'm fucking gayer than you are. But anyway, the fact is that people are people are getting hacked, you know, killed on the streets of Britain. You know, like you had Dunblane, little children getting shot. You have to repeat myself 1,000 times, you know. We want the army back on the streets of Britain. I say stop this Afghanistan war because it's costing people an arm and a leg. How much does a war cost? An arm, a leg? Half your stomach? I don't know. Soldiers are getting their arms and legs blown off, you know. Of course they're going to keep fighting for their country. I'd fight for my country, you fight for yours. If I was in Afghanistan, if I was an Afghanistani or whatever, I'd probably be fighting on their side. I'm Britain. Well, sort of been here for quite a while, since 1066, I know. Anyway, yeah, but what I'm saying is you don't want the army over there getting their arms and legs blown off. I'd rather the army kept their arms. I want the army to keep their arms, you see. Because a soldier ain't much use if he loses his arms or legs. Well, he can be a lot of use, actually. You'd be surprised what I can do with biomechanical stuff nowadays. But anyway, you want a soldier to keep his arms, if possible. Because that's what an army is for. To use your arms, as far as they can. But I think we should bring the army back to Britain now. Bring all the army back to Britain and defend the streets of Britain. Said, bring the army back to Britain. to defend the streets of Britain, to defend the people. And if these Arab fanatics don't like, if these Muslim fanatics don't like the English way of life, can we just send them home, right? You know, you've got so many Muslim fanatics in Britain wear their masks. They wear these masks, what they're called. Well, I don't know what they're called. But they wear their masks and they hide their faces. That should be illegal, actually, except on Halloween, or if you want to wear a mask, it's all right. But it's a bit stupid to let these Arab fanatics take over our country. Why are we letting a bunch of Arab fanatics, these Muslim fanatics, take over Britain? This is not Iraq. If these Arab Muslim fanatics don't like the British way of life, just send them fucking home. If they don't want to live the British way of life, send the fuckers back to Iraq. I'll start a bloody war. I will start a war in Britain. If these Muslim fanatics do not like the British way of life, send them home. Let's finish on that for now. Tune into my channel.